Welcome class, and welcome to our book club. Today we will be reading A Blast from the Past, literally, Jurassic Era edition. This novel is dedicated to our beloved dinosaurs who lost their lives billions of years ago. May they rest in peace. Also, shout out to Mr. Stewart for making our dream of creating this novel a true reality. Sincerely your authors, Emily, Nidhi, Andrea, Kira, and Jenna. Table of contents. We will begin with Pangaea splitting apart, increasing volcanic activity and CO2 emissions. Then, an abundance of new flora and fauna occurs, also known as succession. Further emergence of mammals and birds is followed by a positive feedback loop resulting in terms of CO2 and deoxygenation. Finally, we have the end of the Jurassic Era. Once upon a time, in a much simpler world, there was a large mass of land known as Pangaea. Have you heard? The land began to separate, subcontinents were established, plate tectonics and continental drift meant that the Triassic period had vanished. As the seafloor was spreading, molten rock was rising, adding layers to the moving seafloor, which may be surprising. The release of carbon dioxide from volcanic activity strengthened the greenhouse effect, raising air temperatures and the ocean's acidity. This is where our story begins, the Jurassic period and all of its whims.
As our world began to form into what we know today, floras and faunas grew with no delay. This array was due to the closeness of the newly formed continents and high carbon dioxide, yay. The lack of polar glaciation and high latitude vegetation suggested a growingly warm climate for the Earth's new foundation. New oceans flooded the spaces in between the continents because mountains rose from the seafloor with dominance, pushing sea levels higher and higher onto the land with great confidence. All this water gave the previously hot and dry climate a humid and fluid subtropical feel that is most certainly ideal. The warmer climate caused the dry deserts to slowly take on a greener hue, while the oceans then began to diversify on cue. The Jurassic period included the lack of flowering plants, but a growth of palm tree-like cycades that are pretty at glance. This period was also home to a variety of dinosaurs that included large sauropods and diverse marine life, some of which would only come out at night.
Not only was the environment changing, but life on Earth was also rearranging. Early mammals in the Jurassic went through rapid evolution, living alongside the dinosaurs in a perfect union. These small furry creatures were adapted to nighttime living, mainly eating insects and bugs. I'm not kidding. Aquatic mammals, flying mammals, as well as rodents and early primates, who could have predicted what the Jurassic period would create? From as small as a bumblebee to as large as a squirrel, these critters acquired mammalian traits that are now universal. Limbs positioned under the body, an enlarged brain, a more complex physiology, and mammary glands are just a few things they gained. On land, mammals and dinosaurs ruled the territory, but in the air, birds evolved and made their first appearance in our story. Archaeopteryx was the earliest bird and shared structural features with dinosaurs. It even had a full set of teeth that no prey ignored. The Jurassic period was a time of immense growth and evolution. It's undeniable that this was the Earth's revolution.
Now, we'd like to take a short intermission to ask you to please watch our upcoming film, Jurassic Globe. This film, set off the coast of Costa Rica, follows two men's journey to try and save a local resort that is threatened by the release of genetically engineered dinosaurs. It's up to Eccles, an amateur hunter, and Travis, the Jurassic expert, to save the people. Available June 12th in IMAX and in theaters. As time went on, it became clear that a cycle was appearing. Listen closely, or you won't believe what you're hearing. The reorganization phase began when Pangea split apart. The connectedness was low, but the high potential and resilience meant that this was just the start. The warmer climate left limitless opportunities for the future, sending the ecosystem into the second stage of the adaptive cycle, like a booster. In the exploitation phase, the availability of nutrients fueled rapid growth in life on Earth. Eventually, the environment became stable, signaling the conservation phase was to be brought forth. This third phase allowed dinosaurs and marine organisms to thrive, but when CO2 levels went up, the release phase forced all the growth to take a dive. The abundance of carbon dioxide led to global warming, causing ocean deoxygenation and a positive feedback loop with no warning. Marine communities were severely impacted, making them unable to function correctly and therefore less resilient to further ocean deoxygenation directly. This disturbance caused by a rise in carbon dioxide resulted in a minor extinction that marked the end of the Jurassic trend.
But life was not all rainbows and sunshine. For the poor dinosaurs' lives started to decline. As time went on, the Earth continued to get warmer, which disturbed the order. The sea levels began to rise, and a little thing, known as carbon dioxide, was released in strides. That release of carbon dioxide then absolutely wiped out most of the Stegosaurid. Oh, how terribly horrid. Dinosaurs, including sauropods, bivalves, and marine reptiles, were killed in large percentiles. This minor extinction then led to the end of the Jurassic. Tune in next time for another classic. We would like to thank the resources that made the research and writing of this book possible. We couldn't have done it without you. Thanks for tuning in for this special reading of A Blast from the Past, literally, Jurassic Era. We hope you'll join us next time.